Earth. I mean, I don't think our goal, and I hope it's not, is to get the hell out of this place or to ascend somewhere else. I'm hoping the goal is to create a fertile land here of energy, of positive, loving, unconditional energy, so our spirits, our higher selves, can descend here and create heaven on earth. Because I don't know about you guys, but I like Earth.
The Good Intentions Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions one intention at a time. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Yes, this is the Good Intentions Show, where you will meet people who live life intentionally and hear about things they're not telling you in the mainstream media. And now, here's the truth seeker, the snake charmer, a legend in his own mind, broadcasting live all over the universe, your host, Mr. Tim Ray.
Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is approaching. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors and schedule your free, no-obligation appointment to discuss all your Medicare options. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Talk 1470 and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. Listen for attorney Lisa Macy. Thursdays at 1 p.m. and Saturdays at 3 p.m. Health and Wealth Radio, WNN. Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM, W237BD Boca Raton. The Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Selfless service is the guiding principle that drives Army National Guard soldiers to be always ready whenever disaster strikes. They are your next-door neighbors and your colleagues in schools, offices, and factories. To be a Guard soldier is to stand ready to serve at all times for family, for community, and for country. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com or contact an Army National Guard recruiter in your area. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Talk here, talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
The opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Shub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Shub. And tonight, like we always do, we're going to talk a little golf. We're going to talk a little travel. We'll have some deals for you. We'll find a way to send you far away if you want, or maybe close by for on the cheap, I guess. And we also will be chatting with a guest in just a few moments. We're going to be talking to executive chef Kelly Randall, and he is from the Venue Restaurant, which is a cool new place that I had an opportunity to check out this past Sunday for brunch. It is in Boynton Beach, just right at the Turnpike, and they also have live music, which is pretty cool. It's almost like a supper club kind of a setting. So for brunch, they had some easy listening, jazzy kind of stuff going on, which was pretty cool, but they do have other music during the week as well. And the food is really good, and for a place that you can have entertainment, the prices are moderate. So we're going to get into some more details on that in just a little bit. But like we typically do, we kind of kick off the show talking a little bit of golf. And last week I had the unfortunate opportunity to watch a bunch of the Ryder Cup. And I was not all that surprised that it didn't turn out as we had all hoped here in the U.S. It seems that every time the team, and I guess it's been now about 25 years since we've won on European soil, for some reason we just don't do so well. I guess the home field advantage is pretty strong when it comes to the Ryder Cup. and it was ugly. And being that it was over in Europe, I was turning it on at like 2 a.m. when it started, and I could see that it wasn't looking all that good. So by around 2:30 or 2:45, I was asleep, and I really didn't have any incentive to wake up and turn it back on in the morning because I kind of saw the way it was going. Ultimately, the European team won 17.5 to 10.5, which was one of the most lopsided victories in a long time, going back to at least 2014. And worse than that, there was just a lot of bad second guessing, a lot of bad feelings. It got kind of ugly, mostly afterwards, of course. Mr. Furyk, his captain's picks have been criticized quite a bit. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, of course, two of the picks. And while Phil, we'll talk about in a few minutes, is leading this week, he did not play very well over there in Europe. And he actually mentioned just recently that golf course is not one that he really has any desire to play again. And I guess he's going to have to be a little bit more picky about where he chooses to play. It just didn't suit his game. The rough was a little too tall. The fairway's too narrow. It didn't give him a chance to make some of those amazing shots that he likes to when he scrambles a little bit. And I got news for him that the next Ryder Cup, which will be in 2020 here in the States at Whistling Straits, he'll be 50 years old. He will probably not make the team on his own and probably will not be a captain's pick. Tiger Woods, of course, will be 44 years old, and who knows? I think Tiger's problem was a little bit different. Tiger had just come off of a stretch where he had played the most golf he has played since coming back from his back surgeries, and even though the week prior he played his best golf that he's played since his surgery, winning the Tour Championship, I think going straight from the Tour Championship on a plane over to Europe, it was just he had nothing left in the tank. So that didn't work out too well. Then, of course, after the fact, we had some infighting going on. Patrick Reed decided that he was angry that he didn't get to play alongside Jordan Spieth and instead ended up with Tiger, and obviously that pairing did not do very well. And I don't know if he was blaming it on Tiger, perhaps, or blaming it on Jim Furyk or whatnot, but, as I've discussed over the years and certainly prior to the event taking place, that the Ryder Cup is a team event, and, there's no place to be bitching about an individual and what the captain assigns you to play. And, just like in any team sport, there's a manager, there's a coach, and they make the decisions, and the players have to go out there and play. The U.S. players, unfortunately, many of them are just used to being individuals and playing as individuals, and they just don't get that team spirit, whereas the European team, every 2 years, they seem to understand that, the individual egos have to go out the window and they have to rally together and play as a team and be managed by a captain, and they just seem to have it better. It's after Mr. Reed complained, it seems that some of the other players came out against him and saying it didn't go down that way. So just lots of bickering and infighting and a real ugly scene. And every 2 years we talk about this, and every 2 years there's perhaps a new captain and a somewhat different team, and they all talk about the teamwork and how it's gonna be different. And unfortunately, it was not different. It was just more of the same. So it was kind of sad. Also, of course, there was a horrible accident out there where Brooks Koepka hit a woman in the eye with an errant tee shot, and she lost the eye, and he was all broken up about it and upset. She was broken up about it. She felt that she did not get the immediate attention that she should have gotten, and she's talking about possibly suing the Ryder Cup. And of course, the Ryder Cup is the PGA of America. My neighbors across the street up in Palm Beach Gardens, so they're going to have to deal with that. And obviously, every sporting event you go to, the fine print always says that you're at your own risk. And certainly the players can't be held accountable, whether it's a baseball player who hits a home run or a foul ball into the stands or a golfer who misses the fairway. However, there is some responsibility for the people who make the event as to how close the ropes are and how close they allow the fans to be, and certainly how quickly it is that if there is a mishap that they get them the appropriate medical care that they require. So I'm certain that if this woman decides to sue, that there won't be a shortage of attorneys that are willing to take her case, and they're, just because the ticket says that you're there at your own risk does not necessarily mean that there's no liability for the folks who are putting on an event. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. And if it affects future events, because let's face it, every week there are tournaments out there. There are fans that are extremely close to the action, and, are they allowing too many fans in too close because they make money doing that? Is it safe? I don't know. These are questions that we're going to have to get to the bottom of as time goes by. So we'll see how that kind of sorts itself out. Also, last week there was some other action on the Champions Tour. Not too many people were paying attention to it, but it seems Ken Tanagawa, I'm not even familiar with him, but he won at Pebble Beach the Pure Insurance Championship. It was his first PGA Tour Champions title. Seems that he got his tour card at Q School as a 50-year-old, so he's getting off to a pretty good start, it seems. So we'll see how all that works out. This week there is some action going on as well, and PGA Tour is back at the Safeway Open, and that's out in Napa, wine country. And last year, just as the tournament ended, they had wildfires that came through the golf course itself, actually burning parts of the golf course, burning some of the grandstands that were there. A lot of the folks that live on the golf course lost their homes, and somehow they've managed to rebuild quickly and get the event up and running. And Phil Mickelson, who had a horrible week at the Ryder Cup, he's sharing the lead. Last I heard, just a little while ago, it was still the second round was still in play. But last I checked, Ryan Moore and Phil Mickelson were both at 10 under in the clubhouse, and Brandt Snedeker, who was had recently made the turn, he was also tied at 10 under. So, maybe Phil is right, and maybe Phil needs to be playing on courses that suit his game, and that's okay. Not everybody has to play in the Ryder Cup every 2 years. We'll see how that works out. Also, the women are playing, but not all of them. There is another match play event, team event, international event. The UL International Crown is taking place in South Korea, so I've also been watching that. Obviously, I'm an insomniac, and up at 1, 2 in the morning watching the play from South Korea. And our team is leading their pool. They're in Pool B. Sounds almost like a World Cup kind of a setting where they've got different pools that all play, and teams get eliminated and then move to the final round. And as of the second round, we were leading our pool, the Pool B, and we swept our matches on the second round, actually. Both of our teams, one team was Christy Kerr and Lexi Thompson, who, of course, we had on the show just a couple of weeks ago, local golfer, and the other team was Jessica Korda and Michelle Wee. Michelle Wee was interesting. She dyed her hair blonde, looked a little bit different. She's changed her swing as well, so she's been working on her game as well as her look. And, hopefully our team will do well. I believe we're the defending champions. I think the last time we played in the International Crown, the U.S. team won. So we'll see how that works out. There's obviously a lot of very, very strong golfers. Also this past week, the World Golf Hall of Fame and Museum announced the finalists for the 2019 induction. So out of this group, they're going to narrow it down. I believe the voters, to get into the Hall of Fame, you have to receive 75% of the vote. In the male group, a couple of the big names that are up for an opportunity include Retief Goosen, Corey Pavin, Hal Sutton. Under the female group, there's a bunch, but a couple of the names you might recognize that have a chance include Sandra Palmer, Dottie Pepper, and Jan Stevenson. Under the Lifetime Achievement, Peggy Kirk-Bell, who is one of the founders of the LPGA Tour. I did have an opportunity to meet her. Just great with instruction as well, instruction of kids. So in any event, it'll be interesting to see. Last but not least, on the golf front, every month the Florida Department of State names a featured golf course from the Florida Historic Golf Trail. And this month it's one that's local to us here. And so congratulations to the Miami Shores Country Club, which is, of course, down in Miami-Dade County. They're the featured course for the Florida historic golf trail for the month of October. This golf course was built nearly 80 years ago, and it's still looking pretty good from the pictures that I see. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it's looking quite good to me. All right, I think what we are going to do is we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully our guest, Chef Kelly Randall from the venue, will be calling in. I don't think we've heard from him yet, but hopefully we will. And if not, then Dan Chu will be talking about the venue restaurant instead. So we'll take a quick break, get a message from our sponsor, Labor Finders, and be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show. Stay tuned.
I'm not smart enough. My resume's not up to date. They'll never pick someone like me. No one's hiring right now. Sound familiar? Don't let you get in the way of landing your next job opportunity. Sometimes it's best to leave it up to the experts. Did you know that the last reported job openings in the U.S. as of this recording was a series high of 6.7 million jobs, and that 1.1 million of those jobs were left unfilled? This means that there's a potential opportunity that's just right for you. And at Labor Finders, we're committed to helping you find it. Whether you're entering the workforce or looking for supplemental income in a job that starts right away, we got you covered. With over 300,000 clients across the U.S. and 20,000 active daily workers, we have the network and the experience to get you your next job. Contact one of our nearly 200 offices today to see how we can help in your job search. Simply visit us online at www.laborfinders.com or connect with us on social media by searching the username Labor Finders.
We are back, and as I mentioned, we were hoping to be talking to Jeff Kelly Randall, and it seems that he hasn't called in yet. So at his risk and peril, Dan Schub is going to be the restaurant critic tonight and give you all a review of this wonderful restaurant that I had an opportunity to dine at on Sunday for brunch. We are talking about the venue that's VENU restaurant, and again, it is on Boynton Beach Boulevard, just a stone's throw west of the Turnpike. So, as I said, I had an opportunity to go check it out for brunch, and I got to tell you that the brunch was just, off the charts. First of all, what's really cool is this place is set up like a supper club. So if you're thinking about going to a brunch, you don't want to go to a place like, one of the beautiful resort hotels that we have a stone's throw from here, or in other parts of Palm Beach County where it'll set you back maybe $80 or $100 or $150 for a beautiful brunch. Here you can go and be entertained with some wonderful music. The day that I was there this past Sunday, they had a guitar player and a keyboardist that was playing some really good jazz, a little blues, some easy listening kind of stuff, obviously appropriate dining music from a stage. And then plenty of room for folks to dine, and it's not your typical buffet kind of a deal. This is a full menu kind of a brunch, of course, with mimosas and Bloody Marys around, and just a great opportunity to eat some wonderful brunch food. I went for one of the things that's my favorites, and that was the challah French toast. But the way they prepared it was with fresh bananas. All dressed. I ordered it with bacon, nice thick cut bacon. It was excellent. But some of the other folks that I was dining with had some other stuff that looked equally as good. We all had a chance to taste what they call Joey Bag of Donuts, which are breakfast zeppelis, fried round little donut holes in a bag. And they not the typical powdered sugar that I'm used to coming from New York, and like the Fiesta San Gennaro in Little Italy with the white the powdered sugar, which of course if you sneeze is always a problem. But instead they had a zabaione that you could dip it in, which typical of what you might get in a fine Italian restaurant for dessert. So that was cool. And I mean, the names of everything that they had were very cool. The challah French toast was called challah, which was very cool. And, there were, let's see, the Godfather was a smoked salmon cannoli that came with capers, red onion, and dill. The guy sitting next to me, he was enjoying that. There was a just all sorts of incredible dishes. We also had a charcuterie board that was excellent. A variety of cheeses and meats and some fresh fruit and berries. And it was just a wonderful experience. Now, I did not get an opportunity to eat the dinner or check out the dinner, but I was smart enough to print the dinner menu, so I can talk about it at least, which was a good move, of course. And looking at some of the, and as I mentioned, the prices, considering it's more of a supper club, oftentimes you're going to pay a lot more for the food because you got to cover the cost of the entertainment. But these prices are quite reasonable. Some of the appetizers that caught my eye, Prince Edward Island mussels provencal, in a saffron broth with capers and tomatoes for $14. That's quite reasonable. A crab cake, jumbo lump crab with succotash romesco sauce, shishito peppers, and garden tarragon for $15. This really caught my eye as well. I'm a fan of some of the more interesting meats, like some of the game, just because I'm bored and I like to try different things. How about meatballs al forno made with bison and pork? Okay, so that's pretty cool. Ricotta as well, and basil and San Marzano sauce. The calamari arrabbiata looks good at $15. The meatballs are at $13. A huge selection of salads as well. And it's quite a variety. In any event, also, of course, some pastas are on the menu, and seafood is on the menu. Seafood cannelloni looks quite interesting. Shrimp, scallop, lobster, ricotta cheese, sautéed spinach, and torched béarnaise. A little bit pricier, of course, due to the lobster, but still reasonable at $32. Some of the other entrees include seared sea scallops for $26, 14-ounce Berkshire pork chop for $27, ranch eye ribeye for $39. And, of course, some wonderful desserts are on the menu as well. I had an opportunity to sample a few of the dessert items, too, and you can't beat it. But what really caught my eye, which was a total surprise to me, was from Sunday through Thursday, they have a special price-fixed menu, a three-course menu, and it's not an early bird. This is from 4 p.m. to closing, so you don't have to, eat your dinner before 6 o'clock. With your grandparents in there, younger folks are going to be there dining later at night and, of course, listening to entertainment. So the price fixed menu, 3 courses for just $25 per person. You get to choose either a salad or an appetizer. It includes some of the ones I just mentioned, like the meatballs, the calamari, a shrimp cocktail, burrata, or a Caesar house or wedge salad. Entrees include grilled Scottish salmon, chicken franchise, Sunday gravy. This sounds interesting. A braised steak, house-made sausage, meatballs, rigatoni, and the San Marzano tomato sauce. There's a gnocchi dish, rigatoni alla vodka, or the double-cut pork chop, which is $5 extra. And for dessert, either mini cannolis or cookies, all for only $25. And like I say, this is not an early bird. This is Sunday through Thursdays from 4 to closing. So excellent food, great atmosphere, entertainment, perhaps a good place for a party as well. I don't know. It looked like it would be good for, I don't know how many people they hold, but it looked like a great place for a party, especially with the stage, especially if you want live music, or perhaps a business event or a business meeting. It might work for as well, too. To get more information, what you could do is go to their website, The Local Venue. That's TheLocalVenu.com. The menus are there. The information is there. The calendar of entertainment is there. And take my word for it, it's a great experience. It's new, and if all of us local folks or the tourists that come down don't support these kinds of places that are trying to provide good food at a good price and entertainment, they go away. So please do me a favor and support the venue in Boynton Beach. I'm going to change gears, I think. First, I'm going to take a sip of my tea because I'm losing my voice here because I'm doing all the talking. Never like it when I don't have a guest. Excuse me, that's better. As you may know, last week I spoke a little bit about my trip to Las Vegas. We're going to talk a little bit of travel now. And I go to Vegas quite frequently. I try and stay up on what's going on out there, the new restaurants, the renovations and new hotels, the entertainment as well. And last week I had mentioned that I had an opportunity to see Santana, who's been in residence at the House of the Blues for a long, long time. And more rock stars, as well as pop stars, are taking up residencies out in Las Vegas because they're too old to travel, so it's easier for them to stay in one place and for us to travel to them. And another one is just announced a residency, and this is at the Palms. Now, the Palms is off the Strip. It's a hotel that they're sinking millions of dollars into renovating it. I know they've renovated the casino and many of the rooms and some of the restaurant choices, and it's always been known as a place. They've got the Pearl Concert Theater, so they've always had a lot of rock going on. And a person who, I guess 30 or 40 years ago, you never would have thought would, and that back then it would be selling out and playing in a showroom in Las Vegas, but he's doing it. None other than Billy Idol is going to be there. So let's see when this is. It's going to. They're starting out with a 10-show run, kicking off on January 18th, and it's going to run through October. So obviously it's going to be a couple of dates. Typically when they do it that way, it might be like a Friday and Saturday once a month, and then it goes for several months. But all of these residencies start out with, a week or 10 nights or something like that. And if it's successful, they continue, of course. Here I just see a note that they've invested $620 million in renovations at the Pearl. So they've had a residency there prior to Pearl. I didn't know about it. I just found out about it. And I think there may still be a couple of dates less, and that was Blink-182. So for any fans of theirs, you may want to hurry up, or they may extend their run as well. I don't know. So for more information about getting tickets, which, by the way, range from $35 to $150, go to palms.com, and you can find out more about that. Pardon me. For those of you who listen every week, you may notice I'm coughing less and less. So this is a good thing. What I believe was walking pneumonia that I've probably had for a few months that I've been coughing is slowly starting to disappear. The good news is it's not contagious, especially over the airwaves, so you don't have to worry. I also like to talk about all the different airlines that are out there, the good, the bad, the ugly, and one airline that I do fly quite a bit is JetBlue, and JetBlue is jumping on board the basic economy train. It seems, getting you in the door with a very, very low fare, and then, of course, everything is extra. They're talking about this not happening until late next year, but they're working on the plans right now. I'm not sure how it's going to be with the suitcases and whatnot, but do we have Chef Kelly? Did he manage to get here? Okay, we'll talk to him anyway. So for some reason, maybe I got my signals mixed up. I thought he'd be on earlier, but we're going to talk to him as well. So what we're going to do is, I think now that we have Chef Kelly on the phone, we're going to find out what it's like to cook all this wonderful food that I've been talking about for the last 10 or 15 minutes or so, because I'm still over the top, and I want to get his take on it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick earlier break than we typically do. And this way we could get to Chef Kelly and give him an opportunity to talk from the kitchen, which is probably a busy kitchen tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, get a message from our sponsor, and we'll be back with Chef Kelly from the Venue Restaurant. Stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show.
Cinderella story, out of nowhere, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion. It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole!
Have a project with an upcoming deadline, but don't have the manpower to finish on time? Or maybe your business just took on a new client and has a sudden demand for qualified and professional workers. Whatever your business needs, we've got you covered. With over 40 years of experience in the staffing industry and 9-time winners of Innovero's Best of Staffing Award, your staffing problem is no problem for our team of experts. From event hosts, chefs, and housekeepers, to warehouse workers, general laborers, and landscapers, we've got the workers you need. So don't let the burdens of staffing your next big job wear you down. Consult with one of our nearly 200 offices today to see how we can help by visiting us online at www.laborfinders.com or connect with us on social media by following our username @LaborFinders.
And